Hey, welcome back, everybody. This is going to be kind of a different video. Today, we're going to talk about the movie We Are Marshall and how a regular Joe like me becomes an extra in a movie filmed by a major motion picture studio, Warner Brothers studio. First, some background. I guess what you see in the movie We Are Marshall is absolutely true. You know, if it wasn't true, I don't think anybody would believe it, actually. Because a devastating plane crash occurred as the Marshall team plane was flying back to Huntington, West Virginia from a game against East Carolina University. It was a dark and dreary, misty night with light rain and cold on November 14th, 1970. The plane came in short as it attempted to land at the Huntington airport. It clipped the top of the hill very near the airport runway and went nose first into the ground. Here are some photos of the crash damage, very extensive damage, a fire, just like you see in the movie. No survivors, obviously. 75 passengers and crew were killed instantly, including there's a bulldozer carrying a large piece of the fuselage away from the crash scene. It was a DC-9 Southern Airways. Again, all 75 people aboard were killed. And let's see if I can put this up here somewhere. This is the picture of the 1970 team. Most of the players, as you see here, were killed in the plane crash. And every year in the media guide, there's a memoriam for the 75 people who were killed. The names of the players on the team are listed here. And then on the second page, this shows the plaque that's at the fountain that I'll get into just in a bit. This gives the name of the coaches, the administration, and staff, which I'll also get into, the fans, and then the Southern Airways personnel with the pilot, first officer, and the two stewardesses. Not everybody in this picture died because some of these players did not make the trip. Back then, freshmen were not eligible to play on the varsity team in sports. So back then in the NCAA rules prohibited that. And then there were some players, of course, who were injured and did not make the trip. And then, some of the coaches did not make the trip. They were recruiting elsewhere. There's Red Dawson. He did not make the trip. He was recruiting a player in the state of Virginia who ended up playing at West Virginia University. And Red Dawson in the movie was played by Matthew Fox, who was an assistant coach on the 70 team and on the Young Thundering Herd in 71 when they reformed the team. And I'll get into that a little bit. But, in addition, as I mentioned, in addition to the football team being devastated, the town of Huntington itself was also devastated. And this was a big trip. I mean, teams, especially teams like Marshall, which would be considered a small college at that time, they didn't fly to away games very often at all. Most of your games were regional. You drove a bus to the games and drove home afterwards. But this was a big event. This was near the end of the season in 1970. So, this plane was filled with more than just the team and coaches. It was also filled with dignitaries from around the city of Huntington and the surrounding county, Cabell County. And as we see here, there were 6 medical doctors, team dentist, team physician, sports information director. There's the student editor of the newspaper called The Parthenon, delegate-elect to the West Virginia legislature, so prominent car dealer. So it was a major hit. I mean, Huntington's population was probably about 70,000 at that time in 1970. So you have 37 players, 8 coaches, 25 boosters, and then the 5 flight crew. In all, 70 children lost one parent, and 18 children were completely orphaned, losing both of their parents. So to say that the city of Huntington was damaged is the understatement of the century. I mean, the university, the city, the county, the entire area was devastated. So what happens then? Well, after originally wanting to just completely scrap the football program, the school's board of governors decided to hire a new staff and petition the NCAA to allow true freshmen to play varsity football and to recruit basically, an entirely new team, in essence, and return the very next season. And this new team, as you may know, Marshall's athletic teams are nicknamed the Thundering Herd. And this team in 1971 actually took on a brand new nickname, and it was legitimized. It was called officially called the Young Thundering Herd. And it had this, baby buffalo on there with little horns. And that actually became the nickname of the team for that 1971 season. So the Young Thundering Herd takes the field with a handful of returning players, some true freshmen, because the NCAA, after some very heavy prodding, as you probably saw in the movie from Marshall's dean and their administration, did allow true freshmen, to become eligible to play varsity. So this team of returning, a handful of returning players, true freshmen, basketball players, kids from around campus, they go out and they win their first home game on the final play of the game. And that's what the movie's based around, of course, but it's more, has to do with the rebirth of the city, the rebirth of the program, and the rebirth of the college. But it's based around the fact that this new team of youngsters, this Young Thundering Herd, went out and won their first home game. So is that too good to be true? Probably is, but you can see why movie studio after movie studio wanted to make that movie year after year after year. But Huntington, even 30 years later, in the year 2000, was still very, very tender. I mean, the crash was still memorialized each fall with the turning off of the memorial fountain each November 14th to kind of commemorate the day of the crash. And it was definitely a nonstop part of Marshall's history. But the wounds were still healing. And in fact, the effects were still being felt 30 years later, when movie companies came to town with their scripts. And at that time, there was a full-length featurette done called Ashes to Glory. Well, first, let me talk about this fountain. This fountain was put in place in 1971, the year after the crash. And each one of these is called a spire. And there's 75 spires, and the sculptor said each one is pointing to heaven. So that's the fountain that's turned off each November 14th. And they have a ceremony, and the current football team places roses around the edge of the fountain to commemorate one rose for each person who passed away. And then sometimes if the person's family member who survives wants to lay the rose, then they are allowed to do that on behalf of the person who passed away in the plane crash. And then each spring, there's another ceremony where, this fountain is turned back on each spring. And there's usually a guest speaker, and they most of the time have a very close connection to the crash. But in the year 2000, to celebrate the 30th anniversary of the crash, there was a full-length documentary done called Ashes to Glory, and it took great advantage of those 1970 news clips, snippets from radio and TV announcements, newspaper clippings, and much of it was done in original black and white. But Ashes to Glory really, hadn't received national attention. It was very well done, but it was distributed, mainly locally, regionally, and when these nationwide movie companies came in to do something that was going to be nationwide and worldwide, Marshall University wanted whatever was to be done with grace and respect and reverence. So Marshall wanted national exposure, but also wanted to be treated with kid gloves. And additionally, they wanted a large portion of whatever film was to be made to be filmed right there in Huntington. Not exactly a hotbed for Hollywood movies. So that was a tough starting position and a difficult situation for a national movie company to operate under. But that was the environment in and around Huntington in late 2005, early 2006, when a team from Warner Brothers was green-lighted to start the film We Are Marshall. Now, some of my background. First, I live in Teays Valley, which is a spot about halfway between the capital city of Charleston, where I work, and the second largest city in the state, Huntington, which is the home of Marshall University. And these two cities are probably about an hour's drive away from each other, and I live almost exactly halfway between the two. Okay. Second is I attended Marshall for 2 years and earned a master's degree. This is my diploma. And the year I graduated, 92, Marshall won its first ever 1AA national championship. And 1AA, of course, is now called FCS, or Football Championship Subdivision. And they won that the year I graduated. So I was really involved with the football program and really excited about it. And it was just now starting to reach national acclaim. They had played for the national championship in 91 and lost, and then won it in 1992. Now, third, Marshall was the winningest football team in the entire country in the decade of the 1990s. Now, granted, being able to play, up to 15 games per season in 1AA helped the situation, but they moved to 1A in 1997 and really didn't miss a beat. They won, 10 games in 97 and 12 games in 98 and then 13 games in 99 and went undefeated in 1999. So if you add up all those years in the 1990s, Marshall was the winningest program in the entire country. So that's why they say ashes to glory. Fourth, as a side note, you may find it interesting that the seniors on the team, when the team won its first ever national championship in 92, were mostly 22 years old, meaning they would have been born in 1970. Now, what else happened in 1970? Yeah. And you'll find eerie, strange coincidences or strange information like that over and over and over again when you talk about the Marshall plane crash. So that's just one interesting side note. So for fifth is I love football. I played baseball in college, and I truly love the sport of baseball. But I love all sports, and played football in high school, of course. And I became a big follower and supporter of Marshall University football. And I was lucky enough to be president of one of its larger booster clubs called the Quarterback Club in 2007. And let's see if I can turn this around and give a better background here. This is nope, that won't do it. This is the plaque that I won, or was given to me after I served my year of presidency of the Quarterback Club. Tough to see there, too. Oh, well. Anyway, it says, Marshall University Quarterback Club of Charleston, President's Award, Michael Myers. Thank you for your years of service to the Marshall University football program, 2007-2008. So, that's what I got for being president of the Quarterback Club in 2007. But I officially took office in late 2006. Just, prior to the movie being released nationally in the middle of December of 2006. In fact, my first order of business as the Quarterback Club president was to host a private screening of the movie here in Charleston on December 7th in front of a packed house in a local movie theater. So that was pretty amazing. So I love football. I love Marshall football. And number 6 is I love movies. I just love going to the movie theater. I love the popcorn. I love the entire aspect of just going out for a movie. And I especially love sports movies because I'm such a big sports fan and such a big movie fan. You know, The Natural, Field of Dreams, The Longest Yard, Bad News Bears, all those are probably in my top 20 movies of all time. But because I love Marshall football and because I love movies and because this movie was going to be filmed just a half hour from where I live and an hour from where I work, I was bound and determined to be a part of the movie being filmed in Huntington. Just to be an extra, to be the guy in the crowd, to be a fan in the stadium, to be the man in seat, to be man walking by, whatever. I was bound and determined I was going to be a part of this movie. And now, just how to be a part and how I became part of it, well, that's going to have to wait until the next video. So I'm going to do this probably in 3 or 4 parts, knowing how I like to ramble on, probably 4 parts. But hopefully I can make it interesting for you and kind of take you inside of how a movie is filmed, tell you a little bit about Matthew McConaughey and Matthew Fox, and about some other stars in the film. If you have any ideas, if you have any questions about the movie that you want me to hit head on in a future video, just post them down below. And that'll be one of the topics of a future video. Again, this is part 1. And at the end of the series of videos, I'm going to have a giveaway. And this is kind of going to coincide with my 400 subscriber giveaway as well. So you must be a subscriber. And if you already are a subscriber, that's fine. If you haven't, click on that subscribe rectangular area. And then after doing that, if you want to be notified of future videos, just click that notification bell, and that will give you notification every time I post another video. And I'm going to be, again, doing at least 3 or 4 of these to cover the entire We Are Marshall movie video series. So number 1, be a subscriber. Number 2, click the like button on each one of these We Are Marshall videos. Again, there'll be 3 or 4 by the time I'm finished. Number 3, leave a comment. So you have to hit the like button. You have to leave a comment on all of the videos, We Are Marshall videos, to be eligible. And again, this giveaway is not going to be affiliated with YouTube in any way, shape, or form. So at the end of the final We Are Marshall video, I'll gather up everyone who has subscribed to my channel, who's liked the videos, and has left a comment. And I'll do a drawing on random.org. I'll put everyone on a wheel and to win some prizes, including maybe you can win this movie if you don't have it. This is an unwatched, unopened video, DVD, I mean. And I'll give away some other Marshall-related autographs, probably Chad Pennington, Troy Brown, Ahmad Bradshaw, Byron Leftwich, maybe a Randy Moss autograph. You never know. So it'll be a good giveaway and maybe have more than one winner. But if you want to be entered, be a subscriber, like this video, leave a comment, and do the same on the rest of the We Are Marshall videos. I'll be doing this probably once a week for the next 3 or 4 weeks. And again, if you have a subject that you want me to touch upon, leave a comment down below. Guys, if you like this one, make sure you like this one, and you'll be entered to win. I appreciate you watching, guys. Hope this was interesting for you, just this introductory video. I'll be back soon with another box breaks, pack rips, TTM videos, mail day videos. I appreciate you watching. I appreciate all my subscribers. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.